So today's lesson is going to be how to make a good classical sound. So we've already gone over how to make a good jazz sound on the saxophone. Now we're going to figure out, well, how do you make a classical sound? First, you're going to need a classical mouthpiece. This is a classic Selmer classical mouthpiece. It's a C double star, but a C star is usually what they're called anyway. With these Van Doren blue box reeds are probably the best setup you can get for classical playing, and there's really not much variation to that. You can get a Van Doren AL3. That's about it, though. But most people have that set up, so that shouldn't be that hard to get. It's not very expensive. These are only like $140. You can get them used for under $100, so that's not that hard to get. The reeds, you're gonna get reeds anyway. So now let's get into how to actually create the sound. So this is the lip in embouchure as opposed to my jazz sound video where it was lip out, right? Pouting, right? It's going to be lip in. You're going to still tuck your bottom lip under your teeth. Okay? So that's the first step. So now that we've got that, what I want you guys to do is draw the corners of your mouth and grip the mouthpiece like this. I think I've showed some of you guys this, when we were still in school, how instead of gripping the mouthpiece like this and biting down, you want to grip this way and grip with the embouchure in the corners of your mouth. That way you're not going to be biting down on it. So instead of this, it's like this. So that's where the stability of the embouchure is going to come from. It's not going to come from you biting up on the mouthpiece, it's going to come from gripping it. So the next thing to think about with Airstream is to speed up the air. Don't have this wide, slower air column like you do in jazz band. In classical playing, it's narrow, like pinpoint air going straight through the saxophone. The next tip is to keep the sound more in the front of the mouth rather than the back or the middle, and that's going to help. If you draw those corners in, it's going to already force the sound to kind of be generated up here rather than back here. And think about the air when you're using your air. Make sure you're thinking about it going through the entire saxophone. That really helps me a lot, especially with getting the low notes, is that you can think of it as you are blowing the air all the way through here and all the way out the bell, rather than just blowing into the mouthpiece and forgetting about it. That'll help the air support and the speed of the air through. And now with vibrato, I haven't made a video specifically on vibrato, but you want to have a fast and narrow vibrato. You don't want to have it very wide, and you don't want to have it slow. Almost kind of think of how a violin would perform vibrato. That's kind of how you want to do with the saxophone. And with your articulation, you want to keep the articulation at the tip of the tongue, not the middle of the tongue, and don't anchor tongue or anything like that. And that'll help. If you keep the sound in the front of your mouth, it'll make the fast articulation much, much easier. So I'll give you a little bit of an example of some classical sound here. Just play some scales. Right? Nice fast vibrato, nice air speed that's really fast, and that's how you will get a good classical sound as opposed to a jazz sound. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Thank you.